Okay, in this session we're going to be talking about what do we do once we've got the video. So we went through how do we set up your home studio, what equipment to get. Ben also talked about then what do we do once we've recorded that video, how do we edit it, what things do we add into the video. Now we go to the final piece in the puzzle, which is making sure that we get maximum distribution for that video. So the first thing that I want to talk about is YouTube, and I'm not going to go into any great detail in this because you're all already at the video seminar, so I don't need to sell you on the idea that video is the place to go. But what I do want to tell you is YouTube needs to be the area that you focus on, and there's a few reasons for that. Obviously, Comscore, they're a research company based out in the States. They said that YouTube is now the % search engine. You may have heard people use that. So when people are looking for things, they go to Google #1, and then they go to YouTube #2. 28% of all the searches done in the Google network, so the Google network is all of their sites, 28% of them come from YouTube. So a big part of all of their traffic is going through YouTube. YouTube has 13 times more traffic than the position #2. So of all the different video sharing sites out there, Hulu is currently sitting in #2, but YouTube has 13 times as many views. So when you think about where you're going to focus your attention on, you make sure that you focus on the big rocks and you make sure that you put your attention into the things that's going to get you the biggest impact. So the other thing to keep in mind as well, some YouTube facts. YouTube is now the default everywhere. It's the default on all the smartphones that come out. Whenever there's any sort of video search, it's all YouTube. When you think about a lot of the new TVs that are coming out that have integrated in things like Google TV, and even ones that don't have Google TV integrated, they all use YouTube as the default search engine. The Apple TV, that uses YouTube as the default search engine. Then you've also got the iPads. iPads have increased the consumption of video significantly. Everybody's starting to use iPads to consume video, and the default on that, YouTube. So I think you're starting to get the pattern here. It's all about YouTube. The other thing to keep in mind, which I can't remember who, I think I might have heard Paul Colligan mention this one, which I think it's interesting. You don't see Google search results in the YouTube search results. So when you're on YouTube and you're typing something in, you don't see normal listings there. But when you're on Google and you're doing a search, what do? You see videos in the normal search. So that shows you, when you do video, you not only have the ability to dominate universal search and normal organic search through the google.com, but you can also dominate on YouTube as well. So what do we need to do? We need to make sure that we spend our time on YouTube. 90% of what I do for any video stuff starts with YouTube. When to use some other sites? Some of the other sites that we use Vimeo, Vidler, and Amazon S3. There are a whole lot of different other services out there. These are the main ones that we use. You might use one that works well for you. We use Vimeo. Vimeo is an excellent software. You can get an account. How much do you pay to upgrade to the Pro version? It's like $50 or something like that. And you're able to upload high quality videos into Vimeo. You can then embed them, and when you go the Pro account, you can remove a lot of the branding. When you're embedding YouTube videos onto your own website, it's still got all the YouTube video. You can do some things about turning off the referrers, because at the end of a video, a whole lot of those referring type videos pop up. You can turn that off, but there's still all the YouTube branding. People can double click it and very easily get back to it. So we use Vimeo. The thing with Vimeo to keep in mind is it's not a commercial website. They don't allow you to have commercial content on Vimeo. So we only use Vimeo if I'm giving away really good stuff. It might be an interview, it might be for the podcast interviews. If I want to embed that into my website on podcastinterviews.com, we might use Vimeo because we're not using it for commercial content, and I want it to be less YouTube branded, because YouTube, to a certain extent, it can look a little bit unprofessional. Like, you don't see any really big Fortune 500 companies embedding YouTube video throughout the sites. there are throughout their sites. There are exceptions, and I think people are getting more comfortable with seeing YouTube embedded into websites, and I even recommend for some clients will embed the video into their website because there are some other benefits from an SEO point of view when you've got those videos embedded into high quality pages, but we kind of tend towards Vimeo in that circumstance. Vidler is the other one that I use. So Vidler is when I'm doing commercial content. So, and I like to use video streaming services, YouTube, Vimeo and Vidler before I use Amazon S3 because all of those sites, their core competencies are online web video. So they know how to encode and get the best streaming of your video and making sure that it gets delivered to the end user in the best possible format. So that's why I tend towards these sites before I move to Amazon S3. So we use Vidler for the commercial content. It is a little bit more expensive. You can't negotiate with them. They do have like $100 a month minimum or something. That's where they suggest you start, and they give you a certain package for how much you can download and upload. But if you chat with them, they can reduce that for you, and you can get away with, I think we pay about $50 a month, and then I'll only put, the good thing when I pay $50, the other thing about Vidler is you can really debrand it. It doesn't have to have any reference to Vidler, and it's a great way to embed video onto your site that looks very professional and streams very, very well. And then you've got Amazon S3. So Amazon S3 is just a file serving, I don't know what you'd call it, like in the cloud, online, what would you call that? I don't know.
A server.
Online server. So it's an online server where you can upload your videos. If you're going to do that, the time and the place where we use that is when we don't want to share the content. Because when they're on a lot of these other sharing sites, you can limit them somewhat, but if you're putting them on a video sharing website, it's much easier for someone to come across it. We might use Amazon S3 in our membership style software, so the online trading mastermind, where we don't want those videos shared around because people are paying, you know, $100 a month or something like that. We put it behind closed doors, and that's things that are on Amazon S3, that's when you need to know a little bit more about encoding or use one of the services Rob's going to talk about to make sure that it's encoded out at the right quality, and people can select, do I want to get it in iPhone version, do I want to get it in you know, medium or high def version, and that's when we use Amazon S3. You need to offer those different options in there. Just before Jen jumps in, the SEO method is a good example of the way that we use Amazon S3. So my particular course is done through Amazon S3, and it will have a high quality video embedded on the download page. Underneath that, we have a lower quality version which we encode using some software Ben will talk about using Visual Hub, and we'll talk about that in the tools section, and then you can download that, and we also have an audio version. So we're doing it a little bit more manually, we're re-encoding, but there are some in the cloud solutions that we'll talk about.